Hello, sisters. I hope this email finds you well. I hope I get the advice I'm looking for. I'm 22 years old and I met a man 6 years ago. He was not married at the time, but was courting his wife. They got married 7 months ago. Now, this man is 13 years older than me, but we've had a good relationship since that day that we met, and we've been out on dates as well. He's currently taking care of my tertiary education. Jess, my only problem now is he's begun to make statements like, why won't I take care of my second wife and all? I think I like him too, but he's married and I cannot break his home. If I cease communication with him, however, I might not be able to achieve my dreams of graduating and helping my younger siblings through school. Mind you, he hasn't tried to be sexual. We just kissed one time, and even that was a mistake. I'm confused. Please help. What should I do? Should I become his second wife as he wants? He married his wife under ordinance, so I will become an illegitimate wife. All right, so there we have it. I think today we'll fly out to Berlin for the very first comments on the show today. Claudia, what do you think about this whole situation?
A bit messy, but is she not making assumptions? Because I think she's making assumptions, and the two of them are not talking. And I feel she's afraid to have that difficult conversation because she believes it might end the financial support that she's getting. But maybe I'm underestimating the impact of what he said, but I think he's probably joking. That's how I see it. People say that all the time. Oh, I'll marry you, you're my wife. Growing up, it was quite common. But if she really wants to get to the bottom of it, she has to have that conversation, like put him on the spot. The next time he says that, you can also jokingly say, do you mean it or are you joking? But then I'm thinking, is she ready for that difficult conversation? There's also that bit of she knowing that the guy likes her and then taking the money, but then he's not said anything yet. So for me, it's murky, and if she really wants to get to the bottom of it, she can have that conversation. But I believe he's not said anything to you. And I'm taking your text on the face of it where you say there's no romantic undertones, but then you kissed. So it's complicated. She really knows what is going on. She knows the guy likes her. She knows she likes him, but then he's married and he's not going to leave his wife. And you also don't want to be an illegitimate wife as well. So it's difficult, but at the end of the day, it depends on her and her conscience. Do you want to have that difficult conversation which will lead to the end of you getting the support? Or you want to assume he's not said anything, so then you start protecting yourself from your side, where from your side you make sure that whatever led to you kissing doesn't happen again, or whatever you are doing that you think is, maybe you're also giving him some vibes, you're not aware, but because you like him, unknowingly you're also giving him signs that you like it. So it's, the two of them need to talk. For me, if she's trying to have a clear conscience, she's trying to be this good person, she can start that difficult conversation, which might lead to the end of her funding, or she might start protecting herself from her side, being very cautious and very about how she interacts with this man. Because sometimes as a girl, if you know a guy likes you, there are ways of killing the vibe from your side. And it all depends on you reading the room well and knowing how to relate to him so that conversation doesn't happen and then you don't lose your funding. And then you can plausibly say, I didn't know. But then the moment you have that conversation, you know that it's going to end. So it's a tough decision that she has to make herself. Yeah.
Okay. Julia, what do you think? Okay. I think she's putting the cart before the horse. Yes, he has passed one comment, why wouldn't I look after my second wife? But he hasn't asked her to be his second wife. It's been 6 years. He's been looking after her for 6 years. I feel as if he had amorous intentions, 6 years is a pretty long time for that to come out, you know? So in order for her to not jinx it, I would say, let things be. He has made this statement once, twice. But once a person hasn't openly verbalized their want of you,
okay, you're going to ask him this and say, oh, say, I don't even know what you call him, but yeah, Kofi Kwame, whatever it is. So you've been saying Uncle Kofi, exactly. Uncle Kofi. So you've been saying, why won't I look after my second wife? If he's been saying it in jest, she can be pushing his mind where it's not.
Right.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Why rock the boat? I think that once he hasn't specifically said, I want you to be my second wife, it's been 6 years. If he wanted you to be his second wife, I'm sure like by now, it won't be just one kiss that you're calling a mistake. Because I'm sure the two of you agreed that was a mistake. That's why it hasn't happened again. I think she's jumping the gun. Let things be. Don't rock the boat. Sometimes we like that. We like to stir trouble where there's no trouble. He's made a few comments in, wait, when he actually says, I want to marry you, then we'll jump that gun. When we get there though, like Claudia was saying, it really is up to you and him. If you want to be an illegitimate second wife, then you need to know what the implications are. And if it's not what you want to do, then you can, very quickly say, Uncle Kofi, please, I didn't think that this was where this was going. So I want to back out. But for now, if you go and stir the pot, indeed, if he says, yes, I want to become your second wife, here you are asking us what to do. You don't know if it's what you want. But she doesn't want to be a second wife.
She's considering it. That's why she wrote to us.
Hey.
She said she's confused. What should I become a second wife?
If it's what you want to do. Really, if you know what the implications of being a second wife are, and it is what you want to do, then sure, do that. For me though, in this particular moment, you're putting the carts before the horse. No man has proposed to you, auntie. Uncle Kofi hasn't said be my wife. So be calming down.
Hey,
she's come to marry. No, you come to marry. Be calming down,
to me.
Oh dear. The first thing that jumped at me is that she's 22.
Yes.
6 years ago, she was 16.
Wow.
So which means that at the age of 16, the one who was looking, I'm sure the guy just says, oh, my girl knew, my little girl knew, my girl knew. Because that statement that you're in a relationship. How can you be in a relationship with a man for 6 years? And within that 6 years, the man has gotten married to somebody else, and you are still keeping what you are calling a relationship. How did he bypass your relationship to go and marry somebody else?
Right.
And what energy did he have to marry somebody else? And your relationship was not affected. So what were the dynamics? I think that there are some women, when you are young, like when you are so young, you think that to show gratitude for especially an elderly man or an elderly man helping you out, the way to show some form of gratitude is to give the man some form of a relationship, or to give the man some form of sex, or to give the man, like to make yourself available for him to show some form of appreciation. However, what I want to tell her is that she's now going to tertiary, right? There's a big difference between the guys in secondary school and the men you meet in tertiary. That's just on the side. When she gets to level 100, but then she gets to level 200, she'll start seeing things that she likes.
She's actually in tertiary.
She's in tertiary. Yes. Okay, so by the time she finishes, she might see other specs that are for her, that would want her for who she is and would want to actually make a life with her. This man has not told you. Look, see, sometimes some elderly men may call you a second wife because they feel responsible towards you. And it's an unjust statement. Oh, right. My second wife, my young wife. It's just to say that, oh, they've decided to be responsible for you. So they use that word loosely. And here you are, because you are young and naive, you've put the whole weight of the world onto that statement. And then you are giving yourself unnecessary pressure. In that case, you see, a man who has gotten a woman from 16, I'm sure from 16, if he's looking after you, you probably still living a virgin or something. He's gotten you to kiss you. Think he would have ended there. He would have attempted to move ahead because he's gotten you and he really wants you. But for 6 years, he's never attempted to be intimate with you. You've not had this conversation about being intimate. Even when you slipped, both of you identified it as a mistake.
Right.
So all in all, I think that the lady is putting too much weight on the man's comments. And like everybody is saying, the moment you open the conversation, just in case those are his intentions. Now, you now have the weight of either accepting or not accepting. But the best way to keep your funding coming and still have room to cut your own path, as in get your own man that you marry, is to play dumb. The way he casually said it, you to casually unhear it. And then, yeah, casually unhear it and then move on with your life.
Looking.
Yeah.
They say you should do
unlooking.
unlooking.
Miracle to hey, that's it. And then we move. You know, if he really wants to get married to you, then you can now start spelling to him the consequences of, you know, he's married under the ordinance. If he had in mind to take a second wife, he wouldn't have married under the ordinance. He would have done the traditional and give me the woman 1,000,001 excuses so that he can add one to it. But once he's perfected it there, it means he had no intentions, especially because you were there before he was doing it.
Right.
So
right, exactly. So young lady, I mean, I'll just add my voice here. You know, you're only 22, you're still going through school. Just focus. And trust me, there is a man out there for you. You don't have to be anyone's second choice. I'm just saying. All right. So we'll bring in some messages. Mark says, you can't spend his money and walk away. Think twice. You girls are the reason some men kill. If you won't marry him, let him know from today.
But the man is married.
Okay.
No, I come small.
I overconf, but yeah, let's go on.
We move. Yakubu says, Yakubu says, this is like a Muslim eating soup prepared with pork while saying he dislikes pork. You need him, but you can't have him. Why? Papa says, do you want to be a second wife? Life is full of choices. You didn't say anything about work. Why don't you work to support yourself and your education? Khadija says, ask him to make his intentions clear to you. If he wants marriage, you can believe, and you believe you can't cope, let him know. If you can cope, that's up to you. A flimsy statement of, let me take care of my second wife doesn't hold much weight. He can say that just to have his way with you and drop you off when he gets enough of you. Now look for a side hustle and stop folding your arms for manna to rain on you from your fellow woman's husband's pocket. It's not fair.
Hey,
Be calming down.
Kojo says, my sister, learn to say thank you with your mouth when a man decides to help you. Learning to thank a man with marriage is a disaster. Whatever you do, you will be an enemy or rival to his wife, and that will create a broken home. My sister, just continue to enjoy the benefits. He knows better than to destroy his home because of you. And finally, Kwashi says, so is it friends with benefit or what? We sometimes think when we get intimate, as in have sex with people, that it's the only time we're breaking their homes. You met him 7 years ago when he was courting and you still let him on. He has supported you and you've been at the receiving end. You're benefiting now, so you see nothing wrong with it. But think of it this way. Will you be happy if you were the one in the shoes of his wife? Make your choice and be ready for the outcome. Those are a couple of your messages.
So the comments have confused me.
No, people can't help people anymore.
Yeah.
Unless it involves eating.
Yeah.
And the piece I meet you,
We'll go for a quick break. We'll be right back.